What if the key to scaling your business was firing yourself? Jesse Gilmore built a business that runs without him, and his profits soared. So let's unpack the exact system that made it possible. So, how are you today, Jesse?
I'm awesome. I'm looking forward to this conversation, Shay.
I am too, because I kind of want to start with going back to the point where you really realized that you were the bottleneck and
Mm-hmm.
what was that breaking point for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for those that don't know my story, Niche and Control is actually my fourth business. My first three of them were really based around my skills. So if I didn't work didn't get done. And as the businesses became more popular or successful, what ended up happening was it increased my hours. And I started working 60, 80-hour weeks for years and didn't really understand what the actual issue was. I thought if I worked really hard, then I'd somehow find the end of it. And I didn't really understand even bottlenecks at the time where my first business is. It wasn't until I went into corporate America and kind of let go of those other businesses that I started to understand what is called a single point of failure. For anybody that doesn't really know what a single point of failure is, it's basically where in a business, there is a certain person, might be you as a founder or a contractor, it could be an employee that knows something that the business kind of relies upon. And if that person is gone, the business can't function. So, what I started realizing in corporate America was that I was the single point of failure in all my previous businesses. And I was researching Ryan Dice's podcast right before this that talked about scalable and his experience with that as well. And I had a very similar one. And it wasn't until I started to understand and identify where bottlenecks and single points of failure were, and actually the removal of those for clients in niche and control, and that I started realizing the power of actually identifying bottlenecks and removing them. So, kind of been a lifelong journey of figuring that out.
Yeah. Is there like any type of red flag that somebody listening right now might be already the bottleneck and maybe they just haven't admitted it yet? Like what is the red flag that they go, "Oh crap, that's me."
Yeah. I think it comes in a couple different ways. One of them is if you take on more clients, it increases your hours. That's one kind of piece. It's pretty simple. Another one is a lot of times they're not able to turn off. So if you take a week away from the business, does the business crumble? Do you have to go on vacation bringing your work laptop and phone? These kinds of things that people used to glorify as like a lifestyle business. I can work on the beach, but they're still stuck to the business. Those kinds of signs kind of give you an understanding that maybe you are the single point of failure. And sometimes in the early stages of a business, you kind of have to be. But when you start to get to a place where things are becoming more repeatable, or you have a team and you're still kind of stuck, then something needs to change.
Yeah. And so it's my understanding that you've built a framework that actually helps founders escape from that grind. Could you walk us
Mhm.
through it?
Yeah, totally. So I call it leverage for growth. We're leveraging the best parts of you and your organization for growth and expansion. And how I developed it, and before I get into the five transformations or five systems, I think it's important to understand that in the journey of entrepreneurship, you learn a lot of different things. And sometimes it takes a reflective period to understand and put things together. And at the time where in corporate America, what I was doing is removing single points of failure in a $4 billion global corporation. And those systems that I was learning led towards an acquisition of $180 million, which was one of those business units. And that was the time where, because things were a little bit uncertain, I guess, in corporate, do I continue going that route? And I started to look back and I was like, what if everything was happening for me rather than to me? And what if everything that I had learned in my first three businesses and in corporate could be packaged into a method that if I was to go back and teach somebody exactly what I had learned to save time, energy, and money, what would it be and how would I do that? That became the first kind of like mental model of creating the leverage growth method. And one thing that I started off with was realizing that the first problem that people face is that they don't have control of their time. It seems like a simple thing to say that you need to work on the business instead of working in it, and you need to do all these different things, but no one ever really talks about how.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about agency growth programs, a lot of times they focus on external first. They're like, you need more leads, you need more sales, and then you can figure out freedom later. And it's exactly the opposite. You have to focus on freedom first, and time freedom becomes before financial freedom. So when I think about leverage for growth is based around five main transformations that an owner or a founder needs to go through in order for them to go from kind of like the subject matter expert, the person that does the work, to more of like a visionary CEO. And the first step is based around time. So regaining control of your time. And this is where the first kind of milestone that I work with clients on is to carve out 8 to 10 hours per week to work on the business. This is just dedicated time. You protect the crap out of it. It's like your whole business is based around these 8 to 10 hours. And once you start to carve out some time, and if right now you are the previous version of me working 80 plus hours, 8 hours might seem like, what the heck are you talking about? The easiest way to start this process, and it's kind of like my 80-20 activity, is just a weekly time log. So for every half an hour for 7 days, just log your time, look back on it, and then apply a very simple principle: eliminate, automate, delegate, time block. What can you eliminate that you're doing? What can you automate, delegate, time block? I won't go so far into that with each one of those, but that at least starts the process of carving out time. Let's just say you can only carve out 2 hours. What do you do with those 2 hours? The next step is based around transformation number 2, which is based around systems. You need to get everything out of your head and your team's head into systems and procedures. And so that way, the person that does the work can change without the customer being impacted. It also allows you to take that week off or time for the vacation and get away from the work. As you start to build more systems, naturally, you should be able to do the same amount of work in less time, which means that those 2 hours turn into 4, which turn into 8, which turn into 10, keeps on increasing, right? And as you're building those systems, you start to notice, just by being very close to the systems, what is most valuable to your clients. So that leads towards transformation number 3. Transformation number 3 is one of my favorites. It's the minimum viable solution. So the least amount of effort on your end, greatest results for the client, priced according to value. Because if you think about it, if you're in an hourly or cost plus type of model when you come to pricing, then an hourly model, if you can do the same amount of work in less time, you actually lose money. And a cost plus model is actually all based around your own costs, not really associated with value. So a minimum viable solution is priced according to value, because you can deliver awesome value with the least amount of effort on your end. Profit margins increase. Is this making sense so far, Shay?
Yeah. So instead of the hourly, you're looking at how can you package your things together, regardless of how much it takes or how much it takes your team. It's still a set price, and you know on the back end what it's going to actually cost you.
Mm-hmm. And you incentivize based around the ROI that you provide. So you look at time saved, money made, money earned, and you calculate the ROI, and then you price based around what I say is a 5 to 10x return on investment rule. So if you're saving them 200,000, then you divide it by 10 and then divide it by 5, and you got a min and a max. And that makes it a lot easier for you to focus on value, and then just continue to increase the value as well.
Do you happen to have an example of anybody that you've done that for?
Yeah, totally. So with Susan was a creative agency client of mine. By the way, I've worked with 99 agencies. Once I get the 100th one, it'll be awesome. But over the last 6 years in one-on-one in our mastermind. But Susan's a really fun one because she was one of those types of people. She had an agency as a full service creative agency doing so many different types of things and so many different types of variations that when we started to get into the transformation number 3, we started cutting like large amounts of services that she was offering and just narrowing down to what was most valuable to her clients. One of the things that was really interesting is that we took something that used to take 2 months and we condensed it down to a 3-week period of time. She delivered better work to a client, charged more for it, and then it led towards continuity. Within 6 months, she doubled her creative agency, and it wasn't a small agency. And then she got acquired in 18 months from doing it. Warren is another one, as a digital marketing agency. We repackaged his services. He went from 15,000 to 100,000 in 9 months.
Perfect.
That's
Just by
per month.
using that principle,
15,000 per
that
month.
third one.
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, perfect. Let's keep going. What's number 4?
Cool. So once you build the minimum viable solution and price according to value, you got to get some validation in the market. So transformation number 4 is based around building a client attraction system. Now, client attraction systems work really well when you have an active referral system connected to an outbound system, connected to an inbound system. Now, what is in each one of those, depending on the founder's personality? You might have some people that are into events like you, Shay, and then other people that maybe are a little bit more introverted. So regardless of what is in those, all 3 of them have to work together. Prime example of how this works is, let's just use Susan's case study as an example. I had when I did my interview with Susan, I started asking her, like, what was happening before working together. And in her interview, she kept on using the word spinning her wheels. I was spinning my wheels. I was spinning my wheels. She like said it so many times, and I kept on rewatching. And I was like, holy crap. So then my cold email campaign, are you spinning your wheels in your creative agency? And then all of a sudden I got more Susan's. That's a prime example of taking a referral program or like social proof and then building it into other assets. So anyway, you have to build all 3 of those. And the main thing that you want to do is you want to create this kind of flywheel. One feeds into the other one, which just makes everything else a lot better. So that's transformation number 4. As you start to make it to where filling a pipeline or additional appointments is not really the bottleneck to your business, if you follow this around, step number 5 is all based around people. Empowering your people to run whole parts of the company so you can focus on growth. This is where all of those people systems come into play. Right people hired, team trained effectively, growing team managed. And this allows you to rely upon the systems that you built in transformation number 2 with the people, and allows you to focus on vision. So that's the leverage for growth method in a short time period.
In a real short period of time, which I appreciate you doing. If we could go back to the attraction system for a second, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, tell me more about that, Jesse. If somebody is highly referral based, how do they go from referral into inbound, outbound, the other pieces of it?
One of the great things about referrals is actually tells you that you're doing a good job.
Right.
Some people think that like, oh man, I'm getting referrals all the time, or I'm relying on referrals. It's not as though you like want to discount referrals. Okay. And actually transformation number 3 in the ideal client and the minimum viable solution allows your referrals to be a lot more pointed or like a niche focused. And you can say yay or nay towards them. But if you're getting referrals, that means that they are literally open to social proof. Okay. One of the worst things that people do is they write their own case studies in as though it's somebody else's. Oh my gosh, just get on a video interview and ask them, what was life like before working together? What made you decide to work with us out of all the options that are there? What are some of the things that you were dealing with, a kind of painful problem that before working together? And then what did we start working on and what results did you get? And then would you recommend it? Literally just that very simple informational interview that's like 15 minutes or so. You do it on, well, if you look at my YouTube, you'll find a bunch of those. Like we have a wall of proof, which is like tons and tons of case studies, all because of this one single thing that I do, which is called the Why Did You Purchase interview. And that one setup allows you to have so much material from using the transcript, direct quotes, the video itself. You can post it on YouTube. Long form can be easily broken down into short form if you use Opus Clip as an AI thing. I was watching your Lauren take number 1, and you can use that in so many different ways that allows you to test things. Okay. Now, everybody's ICP or ideal client persona is different, and where they congregate depends on whether it's B2C or B2B or whatever. That's where all of the complication comes in. If you just boil it down into first principles, you just have a referral system that right now might be passive. You just make it more active. How you make it more active is you get more social proof. Once you get the social proof, you just start building it in. If you've never done outbound before, stick with inbound. If you are an extrovert like me and Shay, start doing virtual events, webinars, 1 hour long, use LinkedIn events and start promoting everybody that's on your LinkedIn profiles. Get used to that. Once you start getting good at the live, you can record it and you can use that as something like a webinar funnel or something. It doesn't really matter what the actual tactics are. It matters more about you trying different things and using the social proof as the thing that my clients are telling you how great we are, not I'm telling you how great we are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And what it kind of also brings up looking at your framework here, I wonder if you ever have people come to you, it's like, okay, great, I get it, I understand the framework, putting the systems and the procedures in place. Do you ever bump up against people going like, I don't want to necessarily let go of the identity that I'm the hero, I'm the one that has to deliver it, nobody else on my team can do it. How do you speak to that?
Mm-hmm. Now, this one might take a little bit longer because there's a whole mindset component that I actually address in the book, because
Okay,
a lot
great.
of the book is not necessarily like it's a manual, but it has more to do with the mindset component. Perfectionism is literally the biggest thing that holds people back from moving into more of a business owner as opposed to like owning a job. And the mindset of that perfectionist has to do with like holding on to control and not really trusting a lot of people. And so I think that you're going to have to, if you're listening to this and you're like, my gosh, perfectionism is the thing and it's holding me back right now, you have to make a decision. And it's a decision for a period of time, maybe a year, maybe 5 years, maybe revisit sometime, maybe every January or something. But you have to make a decision on whether or not you are comfortable where you are right now. If you're comfortable in the job that you've created and that's your thing, that is for some people. So what I'm describing right now has more to do with my desire to serve 1 million entrepreneurs, and I'm doing a lot of things like that. And the people that resonate with my message have more to do with having some type of calling or something that's pulling them towards something bigger than where they are right now. But if you are comfortable and you like the way that things are, you don't have to make all the changes that I'm describing. So if you are that perfectionist, but you do have that vision of something a lot bigger, you're going to have to lean into becoming uncomfortable, getting somebody to do 80% done by somebody else is better than anything. What was there was a book that he said 80% done by somebody else is 100% awesome. I think that was Dan
Yeah,
Martell. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about it. That one quote is really, really key, because if you're a perfectionist, just knowing that 80% is done by somebody else and you get to a 6-inch putt and you're the one who takes it across the finish line, that there's so much freedom in that. So anyway, there's a bunch of mindset components to that, the 3 cells and a bunch of other things that are inside the book. But I would say that is the perfectionism is the thing.
Perfectionism. Fantastic. And you actually have a gift for our audience, which is the book. Is that correct?
Yeah. And by the way, even though if somebody is listening to this and you're not an agency owner, I'm telling you right now, it's still applicable. I'll most likely in 2026 just make it more for business owners and entrepreneurs as opposed to just agency owners. But the Agency Owner Guide to Freedom talks about all the different kind of steps and the mindset behind those transformations that I just discussed. And if you're listening to this, you can go to nicheincontrol.com/free-guide, and I'll give you the digital copy for free. Otherwise, you can find it on Amazon as well.
Perfect. And we'll have the link to that in the show notes as well. My last question for you is, you've managed to scale and you've systematized your business. I'm curious to know, like, what's that next edge for you and your business? What are you leaning into? What's scaring you right now? What's the next thing?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited about it because I feel like for the last 9 months, I've been building up to this moment. And at the time of this recording, what I'm doing is I'm taking one of 9 sub-outcomes that we have, or 9 parts of the Leverage for Growth model. And I'm taking a piece of that, very specifically the scalable agency accelerator is being built right now, which is more focused around that transformation number 3 that we were talking about. and getting it into a system that holds people accountable, moves them through it, and does it in a very quick manner. And so the Scalable Agency Accelerator will be out a couple of weeks after this one gets launched. And I'm super excited about that because now it's going to break all of the barriers that I had with trying to serve a lot of people, time zones. We used to run events a lot, and the synchronous time zones were a kind of an issue based around my schedule with a family of 3 kids and wife and stuff. At the same exact time as an agency owner's busy schedule as well. So we're able to break that, time zones, even countries. We're going to be able to serve a lot of people in a massive way. So that's what I'm really excited about. I'm going to put a lot into that, and then maybe even expand beyond just agency owners into founders as well.
Love it, Jesse. This has been so fun, super informational. If somebody's interested in connecting with you, obviously they have the book and the link to go ahead and grab that. Is there another way to connect with you? And
yeah, totally. Yeah. And so I'm super active on LinkedIn. So you can go to LinkedIn, and then Jesse P. Gilmore is the handle. But yeah, I'm on there. And otherwise, just nicheandcontrol.com. You can learn more about what we do.
Perfect. Any last minute thought or takeaway for our audience today?
No, I just want to thank you so much, Shay. Thank you for letting me share my story. And it's awesome to meet you on the podcast.
Perfect. Thank you all for joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I am excited for you to take these lessons and start utilizing them in your business so you can create even more impact in your world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.